All right, welcome back to Problem Solver Politics. I am Cardon Ellis with Cody the Oracle.
Hey everyone, how you doing?
And today we are going to talk about three things. Andrew Yang, the Knights Templar, and cryptocurrency. What do they all have in common? They're the subject of our next podcast, and they're all arguing, and it is totally awesome. All right? Although I got to say, it's actually rare that we get to see a time when Andrew Yang specifically goes out and declares and makes bold statements against a very specific idea that's in a juxtaposition to something Trump or a specific policy that can generate an argument like this, all right? So, Cody, really fast, before I botch the intro anymore, tell us what on earth is going on.
Well, I guess the more kind of a recent angle of this is that Donald Trump came out, I believe, as of date of recording, like a day ago, I think the 11th of July, and he basically came out and heavily criticized Bitcoin. I think he, quote, Donald Trump, "I'm not a fan of Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies, which are not money, and whose value is highly volatile and based on thin air."
Sounds a lot like the stock market, if you ask me.
But I would say that is a pretty harsh criticism, not money. It's a pretty flat, harsh criticism. Anyway, though, the reason why...
hold on a second, Cody. I do have to be totally snarky right now because the libertarian in me that really likes the idea of cryptocurrency is coming out right now. Couldn't you say that about non-gold standard-backed fiat currency that we're on right now? I mean, you want to talk about something that's paper in your hand but not money? Let's talk about the U.S. dollar. All right, cryptocurrency. I don't know, man. That seems like an overly harsh, generation gap laden criticism of what cryptocurrency is.
I think that is one of the kind of difficult parts about cryptocurrency because I don't know a ton about it, so I can't get into all the details if it's the greatest thing ever. I'm probably in the middle, right? It's probably got some good things to it. The problem is there really only is, when you think about it, for cryptocurrency, like one big source of competition. And it's all of the largest banks in the world. That's the real competition cryptocurrency has.
But isn't that the ultimate battle? Like a movie is based off that. The greatest banks in the world up against these small digital rebels.
Okay, one thing I want to get into, though, okay. I want to get back to is because, like many things,
look at Cody. He's literally putting his hand up.
But I mean, like many things, Andrew Yang actually has thought about this, and he's a little bit more forward thinking on cryptocurrency. He calls this his crypto digital asset regulation and consumer protection and policy. As president, I will promote legislation that provides clarity in the cryptocurrency digital asset market space by defining what a token is and what is a security, define which federal agencies have regulatory power over the crypto digital asset space, provide for consumer protections in the space, that's good, clarify the tax implications of owning, selling, and trading digital assets, promote the nationwide adoption of recognition of protections afforded by a Series LLC, okay, preempt state regulations when possible to create one national framework, that could be kind of weird, and work with the sponsors of the Token Taxonomy Act and Wyoming legislators to promote the above, largely modeled after their work.
Okay, can I jump in, or do you have something to say? Do you have something to say?
One thing I want to say on that, flipping through, I'm personally always a big states' rights guy, so I wonder when he says preempt state regulations when possible. I don't like hearing that from federal legislation.
Well, also, how about we don't hear anything? And the reason why is because A, it's not necessary, B, it's immoral, okay, and C, there's two phrases that come to mind right now. One, if it's not broken, don't fix it. Bitcoin is not broken, and all the weird other cryptocurrencies that have popped up, okay, are not broken, so don't fix them. And B, we cannot apply this desire for regulation to anything. I call it the scuba diving principle. You could say, if you wanted to, scuba diving, which is not federally nor state regulated, it's all privately licensed, and all the private companies won't sell you equipment unless you have a private license because there's this unwritten law in scuba land, okay? It's not a state license that gets you certified to go scuba diving, an insanely, wildly dangerous activity where you have a 3,000 PSI tank on your back regulated by a small device that could blow your face open if it goes wrong, 500 feet underwater, okay? We could easily say, scuba diving needs promoted legislation that provides clarity to the assets by defining what scuba equipment is and when it is a security or when it is a whatever regulated device. We need to define which
Okay, well,
federal
dude,
agencies have
scuba-
regulatory power
Okay, but
over
scuba diving aside, we're not talking about scuba diving.
Well, but
Scuba
it's
diving
like
aside,
this-
hold on.
They only care because it's money.
No, but hold on. I want to show you something.
Okay.
This is an article from Medium.com, the 5 most notorious cryptocurrency scams of 2019, from April of 2019. So that would be in about, what, a 4 or 5 month window, depending on when it was written.
By the way,
it's
I
mid-April.
write on Medium.com. Okay.
How-
And
no,
if
but
a
no.
bonehead like me can get onto Medium.com,
But
maybe
I'm
that's
just
not.
saying. But I'm saying these are just people citing other stories. South Korean Ponzi scheme investors in South Korea, mostly senior citizens, were defrauded of $18.7 million. Oof, M token scammed. ICO fraud in Canada. Kevin Hobbs and Lisa Chang are facing civil asset forfeiture in British Columbia, facing allegations that they defrauded their investors of $30 million after launching the fuel token. Yikes.
Yeah. Okay. So
51 million stolen in Taiwan. I'm not going to go through all of them. 114 million stolen in Sofia-based scam. As a result of a massive investigation and sting operation, police in Europe have uncovered a criminal organization spanning the Czech Republic and Bulgaria that was engaged in the illegal operation of binary options and crypto trading platforms.
Okay, but these are all not problems with the currency. They're problems with human beings.
Well, but the problem when you
Look
have
at
no
the economic
regulation.
crash of
Oh,
2008.
no, but hold on. I want one more thing I want to flip to.
Okay.
So I want you to tell me what is actually what should happen here. So one more story. So
Okay.
a Bitcoin investors may be out 190 million after the only guy with the password dies, according to his firm. Investors in a Canadian cryptocurrency exchange are in a similar fix after the only person with the password to accounts valued at 190 million US dollars died unexpectedly in India in December.
Okay, but when all of this gets out, guys, when all of this gets out and cryptocurrency becomes a very huge thing, I wouldn't say it's a huge thing now because it's still a minority currency, but as it gains market share, okay, and people want to invest in it, they're going to do their due diligence. You don't just say when your agent says, oh, look, I'm going to invest 15% in stocks for this company. You go home, you look it up, you see the health of the company, you look at the graph, seeing what its stock value has done over years. You know, all of these things are part of the growth process of cryptocurrency. And if they naturally deter people because the currency sucks, and it has problems with guys dying with passwords, and it has, you know, the ability of being abused. If the currency wants to survive, they're going to naturally correct, and there is no need to regulate. In fact, the whole reason we went to cryptocurrency was to avoid the hyper-regulated, corrupt inflation and deflation of common government-backed currencies.
But dude, so you're saying unregulated banks is the answer? That's the future we need to head towards?
Because
Okay.
you can compete. Bitcoin has natural competitors. If Bitcoin starts sucking and is proven to be corrupt,
still-
and those little anonymous hackers are going to find it in a second, there's going to be another currency that pops up with the same, because it's not about the individual currency.
Dude,
it's about
unregulated banking is bad. That's basically what it's going to be. It's unregulated exchange of money. It's unregulated stashing of money. It's unregulated everything with
But
money.
it's different because it's not a centralized bank, man.
No,
It's all about the, come on, in
Okay,
Bitcoin,
so-
what do you call it? What's the log? What's the log called? Come on. Because you have to download who has, like, the
No, you know-
blockchain. It's all about the blockchain.
So
Dude,
no, okay, like I said, I
The
don't want to.
blockchain is not a centralized
No.
bank. It's a completely decentralized
What
bank.
I'm saying is, so if something's completely decentralized and completely unregulated, then yeah, bad things are going to happen. There's some regulation in everything.
No, but we make the same argument about guns.
What? No, there's no
Yeah.
there's no constitutional amendment to cryptocurrency. Sorry,
No, I know,
as
but
soon as
maybe
they add
but
that
the
to the
same
Bill of
principles
Rights.
apply.
No,
this
hold on.
is states' rights. Decentralization of power is the epitome of federalism. Therefore, economic federalism is decentralized currency.
I think you're kind of going to the moon on this topic, when in reality, like I said, I would say if there's money changing hands in this country, dude, what happens when you're an American who invests in what they think is a legal, reputable thing, and the fucking Czech secret police? Oh, excuse my language. Sorry about that.
No.
The Czech secret police, though, raids some illegal operation, and you're out 40 million. It's like, sorry, we just don't regulate this stuff. That's your loss. Like, that's rough, man.
Okay, yes, that is rough, and it sounds a lot like how money was before.
Before we started regulations to protect people from these things, yes, because we make regulations to protect people from these things. Like the SEC exists, man.
Yeah, but see, here's the difference. What happened was when the economic crash, okay, when Black Monday happened, we started some basic regulations. One of them created the FDIC. That's why when you go to a bank, it says FDIC insured, and you're guaranteed at least $250,000 of your funds should they crash all of a sudden. Okay, yeah, I get that. That's fine. But that's not. He's suggesting more than just creating the FDIC.
Okay, but he's promoting
creating
consumer
loan
protections. Are you anti-consumer protections?
I'll tell you this right now.
Are
the
you
U.S.
anti- hold
government
on.
has not proven to me. The U.S. government has not proven to me to do two things. One, be competent at large-scale regulation, okay? And second, be competent at large-scale regulation. Therefore, I trust more humanity in general and its ability to naturally self-correct its problems than I do the U.S. government stepping in and saying, hey, we're going to regulate this. Just like Ronald Reagan said, the worst news you could get is, hey, we're the U.S. government and we're here to help.
Okay, but aside from the Reaganisms, how many existing regulations could just be transferred to crypto and just clarified? Like he says right here, define which federal agencies have regulatory power over the crypto digital asset space. What's wrong with that?
Because I don't want cryptocurrency regulated. If you want a federally regulated currency, use the U.S. dollar. You want the protections, you want this, you want that, then use the U.S. dollar. It's just like a Volvo. If you want an ugly car that's boxy but safe, then go buy a Volvo. And if the Volvo competes and it gets better at looking sporty, then fine, awesome. Maybe you can have a sporty, boxy car that's safe. But don't stop a guy that wants to buy a Ferrari. Sure, a Ferrari is dangerous as hell. You want to get in an accident and have the front motor mount shoved into your teeth. Well, actually, it's technically the engine's at the back. But
brutal
still,
car accidents aside, I do not think that Andrew Yang is coming in with some draconian. We're gonna come in and I think the one of the things that prevents Bitcoin from being exchanged and used. Maybe if the federal government had some of these regulations in, I know one of the biggest things holding Bitcoin back is the transfer times it takes and the ease of use. If the federal government could help expedite some of those transactions in the United States, it could just increase the growth of Bitcoin, and they could find some natural balance there, where there's always going to be some regulation.
To me, the balance is already natural. The avant-garde, libertarian, online, digital generation loves its cryptocurrency because it is decentralized.
But are you
and
arguing
anonymous.
in favor of the avant-garde, libertarian, online crypto community?
Dude, let me tell you. I'll tell you right now. I trust the average hacker. All right, I trust the average modern gamer / hacker.
Libertarians. That's new to me.
Yeah.
What are you politically? I'm an avant-garde libertarian.
Well, dude, I really think the new avant-garde is a return to the old school, and the old school is libertarian, baby. And, dude, you said it yourself. What did the writers of South Park say? The only way to be punk rock in Los Angeles is...
They said to be Republican, but the idea being, yes, the way to be punk rock is to be...
Back when Republicans were more libertarian and limited government.
It's hard to be anti-establishment when like 75-80% of Los Angeles is a Democrat. Or not Democrat, I don't want to phrase it that way, is someone who leans more to the left.
Okay, and then it says clarify the tax implications of owning, selling, and trading digital assets.
Sounds like a good idea to me.
Oh, now the truth comes out. They want to be able to tax it. They want to be able to tax it.
Yeah, of course. Dude, like you can't have a currency that they just don't tax ever, because you know what's going to happen. Anyone who's pays attention and actually wants to pay attention to how they're going to avoid taxes can just move money into crypto, do the transaction, and then what happens is they have to increase like sales tax and gas tax and tax you can't just move money into crypto to avoid. Those are the taxes that go up. The taxes everybody pays, not the taxes that the people avoiding the money pay. The big taxes they're avoiding, man, I'm never going to pay that. But guess what? I'm going to pay sales tax. I'm going to pay gas tax. I'm going to pay like my federal or the state income. I'm going to pay that, and they're going to have to increase those because people that know what they're doing are moving crypto to avoid a large thing of tax. It's a real thing.
Okay, look, I'm a huge advocate for being honest and paying your fair share in taxes, okay? But I got to tell you, I have a zero trust level of the U.S. government and regulation of money that won't turn absolute, and absolute power corrupts absolutely.
Oh, so you mean like if Bitcoin becomes like mainstream and takes over, how about the absolute power of suddenly replacing the world's banks as the single largest store of wealth? How about that power that you're advocating for?
The decentralized blockchain? I will take the decentralized blockchain over the Fed any day.
No, but
I'm a Ron Paul guy, bro.
Okay, but what I'm saying is it could potentially just become the super Fed. Somebody has to control the mechanisms that make the whole thing go.
Yeah, the people divesting.
I know part of the blockchain is the fact that everyone's cooperating and that's how it works that way. But I'm saying is, dude, if enough money gets moved into crypto, whoever controls the most crypto is in a extraordinarily powerful position. I would say at a certain point could become, as you described. So I'm just saying, regulation isn't the worst thing ever always. I think some light regulation somewhere can be helpful.
Okay, it sounds a lot like the US dollar, just less corrupt. This is Problem Solver Politics.